What's up, YouTube? Zach's back with another attack, and we got a really special, exciting video for you today. I interviewed Andrew Erickson from Tailosive Tech and the entire Tailosive network, and we got a great interview. We asked him a lot of things, but it was a little bit long, so I did split it into 3 different parts. The first part's going to be today, where we discuss things such as the future of the Tailosive network, including a Tailosive travel and the Tailosive food channel, his first video ever, and the future of YouTube. So that's very interesting. Let's get right into that, but first, did you guys know that the only thing flat earthers fear is the sphere itself?
Zach's back with another attack, so come on in and just relax. Hit subscribe and join the fun. You're Zach to the future now, son.
So, do you remember your first video that you ever made? Whether you posted it on YouTube or you just made it for fun, or?
Oh, my first video ever. It kind of gets... Yeah, that kind of gets a little messy because I think some of the first movies I ever made, I made with my dad when I was about 4 years old. And the internet still doesn't have them yet. We have them. But the internet's not ready for them. I think we made something called, like, Jedi Drew, where, like, we just had lightsabers and we fought each other, and that was about it. It lasted, like, 2 minutes. And I was, like, 5. But the first thing probably I could consider my own creation, I had a little white plasticky looking 17-inch iMac that my sister gave me because she didn't need it anymore. And I was just playing around with iMovie, and I would literally just kind of grab JPEGs and text animations, and that was what I called a movie. I think I had a channel name back then, Gigasaur or Dinosaur or something. I originally started making like little pencil animations where I would just draw each frame individually, because originally that's what I wanted to be, was an animator. And quickly, the more I animated, the more I realized I hated animation. I couldn't stand it. So, yeah, that dream never really worked out. And I didn't really start making like recorded videos with like a camera until my friend Dave, we called him Dave Danger. He's on some of the older Tailosive videos. But back then, he wanted to do more. He was into like film stuff. He's in film school right now. He wanted to be a film major, and he was the one who kind of got me into that. So, but first I would probably say some really, really old, crappy pencil animations, which I still might have on a hard drive somewhere. So someday the internet might see them. I don't think they're ready for them. Yeah.
Cool. So I'm going to skip down my list because that kind of leads me into another question.
Oh, okay.
Do you think that Tailosive will ever have other channels? Like, do you think there could be an animation with pencil animations later down the road on the Tailosive network?
Like more channels than what we already have?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems pretty crazy. I'd love the idea of the animation because I am a fan of animated stuff. It's just I've decided I don't have a calling or a need to do it myself. So if that did ever happen, it'd be really cool, but it would definitely not be me doing it. I'd love to do voice acting, but if someone else wanted to step in and do animation, or like more recently, kind of the joke of Tailosive is that there's so many channels and not really all of them are very active. So like today, people were joking around about when's Tailosive food coming, food reviews, because well, why not? Because we have so many channels, why stop at where we are? So I think as a joke, we made a food channel, and then to convince people it was real, like today I just filmed myself eating Wendy's and uploaded that. So it's getting to a point where it's like I'm just gonna upload whatever, start adding channels as much as possible. If one of them picks up steam, great, but for the most part the channels that have an audience are gonna keep them and expand on them, but the little ones here and there is fine. I can't really think of much else. The crew...
Yeah, I see Tailosive travel brought up a lot in the live streams.
Yeah, that would be kind of interesting. I think it would probably fall more into the talks, the vlogging, if we did the traveling part where we visited parts of the world. I'd feel like that would be more of like a travel topic, and it would definitely make the vlogs more interesting. But yeah, I guess we could get really, really technical and specified if we started divvying up my daily life with different things. And I guess a food channel kind of does that, but the food channel's pretty much a joke. But right. Yeah, no, I definitely don't see any time Tailosive channels stopping. It's mainly just, we can barely keep content up on the ones we have now. So it's probably smart for us to just focus on those and go from there.
Awesome. So do you feel that YouTube's sustainable? Like, do you think that anything will ever take over YouTube, or do you think that it'll kind of be the platform for a long time to come?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's really a mystery what the future of social networks really have to hold, because, like, a lot of people nowadays say, like, Facebook's old. We don't use Facebook anymore. And in actuality, it still has 2 billion, like, active users monthly. So it's still super popular, and a lot of people might say that YouTube has so many problems and YouTube has so many, like, for instance, I make a giant video on why I don't like the Google Pixel, and then it gets demonetized, which is kind of messed up. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's no violence, there's no language, there's nothing wrong with it at all. And yet we're in a framework right now where Google can just say, nope, that doesn't make money. And it's very broken. But sadly, there's just, at this point in time, no other network alternative we could go to and get better results. I've talked about it on the Talks channel several times in, like, Hello World, how I think one good runner-up could be Twitch. I think Twitch has a lot of money behind it with Amazon. They have a lot of server space for live streams. So if they were to kind of reorganize their social media site, perhaps they could have some leg up with YouTube. But even then, the problem with Twitch trying to pay their creators based on ad revenue is just there's simply not that many people there compared to YouTube. It's so hard to compete with because I don't know what the stats are recently, but I'm pretty sure it's over 1 billion users on YouTube now. And there's so many different genres of channels, whether it be, food reviews to how-tos and tech channels and political channels. It's like, it's so wide that's the reason you can make money and a living off of YouTube, is because advertisers will pay a lot to put their ads there. So, yeah, I kind of hope that someone tries to compete with YouTube, because then it would make YouTube have to start wanting wanting creators to stay. Try to create a network that has incentives for creators, which right now I feel like it doesn't. It has incentives for advertisers, but not creators. And if they had a competitor, maybe they could have to compete with them a little bit better, and then they could both fight over who has the better, ad revenue for the creator. But yeah, right now I see YouTube sticking around for a while because Google's incredibly, incredibly rich, and it seems like it'd be very, very difficult for someone to overthrow that. I don't even think Apple could do it because they're a hardware company and not really a services company.
Yeah. Well, that was actually kind of my next question, because this question was definitely inspired by your Hello World about Twitch taking over. And so I was kind of wondering, do you think that Apple could possibly, obviously YouTube is Google, and a lot of people know how you feel about some Google products and stuff.
Yeah.
So do you think that Apple might be able to do something to create a system somewhat like YouTube and have it be a little more open?
Oh yeah, well, one problem I think I know just about knowing Apple as a company is that they're not super, like, open and, like, letting everyone use services. They're pretty closed in that way, and they do it for a reason, so that you can have exclusives and you can have thought through experiences. And Google's not like that, and it allows for, people with iPhones and MacBooks to still use YouTube. It's free. It's accessible to everyone. That's not something Apple really does. They're not a services company. But yeah, I'd love if I was ever large enough one day to be able to go down to Apple headquarters, and I don't want to take selfies with Apple executives. What I would like to do is just pitch to them my idea of how perhaps through the Apple Music platform, now they're publishing original content, video content on Apple Music, the idea of kind of a YouTube competitor, or at least a YouTube Red competitor, original content that's available to Apple Music subscribers, more of a Netflix, Amazon Prime sort of service. But probably the idea of an actual YouTube where like anyone can upload anything at any time, at any length, at any file size. That doesn't seem like something Apple would be capable of doing, just because all of their money goes into R&D on hardware and software, and Google's focus is more on machine learning and AI and like cloud services for people. So they're really capable for YouTube like that. But yeah, I would love to see Apple get a bit smarter with their subscription services. And I think a good incentive for people who want to subscribe to Apple Music or iCloud storage, maybe get some kind of Apple Premium package, like you get everything in one package, like Apple Movies and iTunes rentals are cheaper, stuff like that. To start publishing some actual real content, because I don't care about carpool karaoke. That's something I can find on YouTube anyway. I don't know why they call that an original series. It's people singing in a car. I'd gladly, if Apple approached me someday, and this is totally off there, but if Apple ever approached me and said, how about you make your Tailosive videos for Apple Music? And now Tailosive Network is a Apple Music exclusive kind of thing, and they'd pay me for that, or ad revenue will pay for that. I would love to do something like that, a partnership, because it already feels kind of weird that Google, who I hate on all the time, are the ones paying me. You know, they're making all this possible. So I'd love to see something like that happen. I don't see it happening soon, but hopefully the next few decades.
Definitely. I hadn't even really thought about them doing something more like YouTube Red, where they've got the original series and things that are more highly produced rather than things that are just anybody posting whatever they want to make.
Right. Yeah,
so
for sure.
Because I think,
I think YouTube's kind of set up in a way where Google loves having all this cloud storage that anyone can upload to, and appealing to all the different countries and stuff. But the problem with YouTube is that they have a jack of all trades and a master of none, because every time there's a YouTube Red original, the most common complaint about it is, this isn't available in my country. And services like Netflix can appeal more internationally. They can work everywhere. And I think Apple would be in a similar way. So if they contacted some actual good creators, kind of like how Netflix does, I think they would have a really good incentive program. If you got really good original content and all the music on all your devices, I think that'd be pretty set.
Cool. So another question I had was, do you think that you would ever work for Apple? Not necessarily that doing it as making videos for YouTube or for an Apple Music exclusive kind of thing like you were saying, but even if it was just in any form working for Apple.
In a sense, I feel like I already do. I'm just not getting paid. But yeah, the issue is I'm not sure exactly what a good position for me would be, because I'm definitely not very good at coding, and I'm not really an engineer of any means. I'm a college dropout. All I'm really good at is kind of telling, looking at two pieces of tech and saying, this one gets me better than this one. So if anything, and it doesn't really make sense, I would probably be good at doing whatever Steve Jobs did, which, when he was later in his career, he wasn't really the engineer at Apple. He wasn't designing products specifically. He was telling other engineers what he wanted and how it had to work in order for it to be successful. So I'd probably lean a lot more towards the marketing department, as perhaps someday if they wanted to pitch prototypes for me and I could tell them what's wrong with them or what they need to do in order to be successful, I could be good at something like that. I just don't feel like that's a dedicated job, where you go to Apple every day and they just hand you something and you go no or yes. That's probably not something that's actually a position. But if they called me to do it, of course, if Apple ever contacted me for anything, I'd likely agree to it. But I would love to work with them in some regard, like I said, in the Apple Music kind of exclusive thing, I would love. But in terms of actual research and development, like I said, that's probably all I'd really be good for. I can't invent things. I don't know science very well. Like I said in my most recent Refread Friday, I'm just dumbfounded that power can be delivered over the air, in short doses. I have no idea how that works. I've looked it up and I try to make sense of it. I still don't get it. But I know how software should work, and I know how it should be effective. And in many instances, I don't talk about it very much, but I have designed kind of how I think software should work, and I've designed little concepts of hardware I'd like to create someday if I had the money and power to make my own tech company, how I'd handle that. I've kind of experimented with. So, but definitely I'd be a big picture marketing guy, not a hands-on every day. What kind of material should we use? How does this all fit into such a small phone? I wouldn't be good at that, but telling people what it should do.
The wireless charging definitely blows my mind a little bit too, especially with how they're talking about the concepts of being able to charge it just walking in the room, or even if it's just a foot away. That's crazy.
I know, and it's that, like, technically we can do it now, and a lot of people miss the point of that. It's like, we can send power over the air. The trick with smartphones is how to send it over the air safely.
Yeah.
That's what they're figuring it out.
So what are your favorite TV shows?
Ooh, TV shows. I've kind of been out of the loop for a while. I'm trying to get back into doing Taylosive movie reviews, but I'm so packed right now. I'm trying to find time for it. But more recently, I've been going through Frasier on Netflix. I kind of like the writing in that show. But my favorite TV shows of all time is a pretty close tie between The Office and Parks and Recreation. I've watched those 6-7 times over, and they're still funny to me. I go all through every season, and then I start all over again. It's some of the best writing, and I think some of the best screenwriters I've ever seen are really good at designing and creating dumb people. I think it's really hard to develop a smart character. It's even harder to develop a dumb character that seems believable, and that's what The Office and Parks and Rec have done really, really well. And
I take it that's the American Office, or have you ever checked out the UK Office?
Oh, I've tried the UK Office. I don't find it as funny. No, I couldn't make it through. It was clear that the humor of the UK is a lot different than mine. Not to say that it's bad. I'm just saying it's probably not just my kind of thing. But I really did love all 9 seasons of the US Office, and then all 7 of Parks and Rec. And I'm probably going to watch those till the day I die. I just can watch them always.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is there any color of iPhone that you would like to see eventually?
Like that we haven't seen yet?
Yeah.
I know it's ironic because I made fun of how blue the Google Pixel was, but it would be kind of cool to see a blue iPhone. It's one of those definite Apple sheep bias moments where I say, no, that harsh blue on the Pixel looks awful. But to be honest, if Apple did it, I would probably really like it. I think that'd be a cool color.
Now you're talking a similar shade to how the Google Pixel did it, or are you talking, because obviously the 5C did do a blue, but it was kind of more in your face, and
I kind of prefer kind of the metal glass combination. Like I liked the blue on the Pixel. The problem was it was 1/3 glass and 1/3 aluminum, and it had a cell band and it had a fingerprint reader, and it was just so messy. And I like how clean, the back of iPhones are. And if they had just, one solid sheet of blue, or maybe even a very, very light blue, and then just the metal is actually that harsh, dark blue all the way around, I would really enjoy that. But for the most part, I really liked the product red iPhone 7. It was just the problem of the white bezels I didn't like. I feel like that didn't contrast as well. And if they did a product red iPhone 10, I would consider breaking my space gray ecosystem. I'd love the look of that. But yeah, red and blue are kind of the primary colors. Red is my favorite color, even though the tech channel's all blue and stuff. I still think red looks better, but blue is probably my second. So those are kind of my 2 go-to colors. So if they did blue and red, that'd be sick. But right now, I just want Apple to focus on making the iPhone 10 as fast as they can. That's what they should focus on. I don't care about the colors that much.
Yeah, they can always add colors down the line.
Of course. And I'm pretty sure they will. It's kind of crazy to think that we went from, 7, I think it was 6 colors, all the way down to 2 with the iPhone 10 just going black and white. So they can add more down the line. I'm sure they will.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody, that was part 1 of my interview with Andrew Erickson of Taylosive Tech. Part 2 should be available on Thursday, and then part 3 should end it off on Saturday. So be sure to keep your eyes out for that. Hit the subscribe button to check out the rest of my content. But in the meantime, guys, I'm Zach. Don't you do crack, and I'll catch you in the future.